Crazy Will here. Today we're going to be talking about Affinity Photo basics. I'm going to show you the basics of Affinity Photo, so stay tuned. Hey, Crazy Will from Crazy Will's Tech Show. Today, we're going to be talking about Affinity Photo basics. Now, if you've been paying attention to my tutorials the last couple weeks, I thought I'd start with branding, and then last week's episode was about the banner on your page, and we went along and showed you how to do that. And what I come to realize is that and this is on me guys, I'm sorry, I just kind of jumped this onto you guys and I never showed you the basics. So I figured today, let's go through the basics of Affinity Photo. I'll walk you through basically some of the tools, a little bit of layering, and how to open up files. I want to show you the basics today. And I should have done this one first, and I apologize guys. I should have done a basics tutorial first and then went into all this. Not that you couldn't learn from those last videos, but I just figured this might help you with hiccups along the way. So without further ado, let's get over to the computer and get started with Affinity Photo. Alright, so here we are in Affinity Photo. The first thing I wanted to go through with you guys, the basic, is opening up a basic file. So first thing we're going to do is file. We could do new, or we could do from clipboard. Just to let you know, if you ever do a screen capture, you just do new from clipboard and it'll automatically bring the screen capture right over. So that's a good tip if you do screen captures. But we're going to do new. And obviously you could also open, just open an existing file. That's how you open and close it, just for those that are complete newbies. What I would stick to is the presets. If you're doing stuff for print, hit print and then put in your sizes. Right here you put in your size, and then these are custom things. I usually just do US letter or legal, depending if I'm doing it for certain things, or you can actually put in the size of your project. You could just type in the size that you want here, and then your resolution. And if you're doing print, 300 DPI is the most common print ready resolution you want to go with. I would definitely go with 300 DPI, and that's all the things that you're bringing in too. I'd just keep them at 300 DPI. Now if you're doing web stuff, which we did in the past, photos almost the same. If you're doing web stuff, you just go to the web devices, and then it's 72 DPI, and that's what you want to keep it at because that's dots per inch. Print, you want to go big. Web, you want to go small. And then this is pixels. You always want to do this in pixels. So when you're in print, I don't do it in millimeters, I do it in inches. So if you do the standard page size, which is 8.5, so 8.5, and then I changed this to inches, and I guess it changed it over to millimeters. I don't know why it's doing it millimeters, by 11 inches, and it changed it over again. So let's see if that worked. We're just going to do a print type of thing. Yep, that did that. I don't know why it's switching it over to millimeters, but anyway, I'm sure you can change that in the settings. We're not going to get into that today, and I will look at that later on. Alright, so now that we got a page open up, you got the hand tool, which is the first one. And just to let you know, a quick hotkey on the hand tool, if you hold down on the space bar, like let's say we're in the select tool and you hold down on the space bar, it switches over to the hand tool. So that's a really good quick hotkey for you right there. Hold down on the space bar and you can move around. Really a time saver. And then obviously we have the select tool, which will select anything that's on your page here. You got the eyedropper tool, which you can pick up colors. See how I changed the color over there? You have the crop tool, which you can crop in things. And that way if you're trying to get a logo or something, you want to crop it out, you could do that, and you hit apply here. But I'm not going to do that. We're going to hit cancel, and you can actually do exact measurements. If you notice up here, you can change a lot of the settings. Change up here. See how it changed? So that's your paintbrush select tool, and then all your subtract and add is right here. So if we want to subtract, and then let's say we want to add, just a basic show you how to do that. You can change the size of it. So if you want it bigger, you want it smaller. The big thing with selection is the refine tool. I've gotten into that in my intro to Affinity Photo, what the refine tool does. And I'll go in here real quick, but basically this refines everything in there. You could change the border width. I'm not selecting anything in here, but you can go through, you can feather, you can adjust, you can add, subtract, and then you can export it out. I always like to export it out if you're doing selections, new layer with mask. So that way it's kind of like a non-destructive way of doing it. To deselect this, we're going to go to this tool right here, which is your rectangle tool, and if you hold down on it, you get a whole bunch of different types of select. And I just want to show you that if you tap on the screen, that's how you deselect. So we have the rectangle tool, and there's other ones. There's the eclipse. Now if you put an eclipse there and you want to do a multiple select, if you hit, I believe it's control, we can add in another selection like I'm doing right here. Or if you hit option, you can actually take away with that select tool. So that's just a little quick tip for you guys. Now if we go into the select, I selected on there, and that's how you deselect. We got the freehand select tool. There's many ones, but these are the ones that I really use. The freehand select, you can draw a selection and then option to subtract, control to add. So when you're doing your selection, that's a big key feature when you're trying to select things. Another thing with the selection tool, when you have it selected, and that's the freehand selection tool, you have other options right here. There's the freehand, and then if you go over that, you got the poly, and these are like I said, I'm showing you the most used ones, and and you can add on to that one. Same thing. If you hold control, it adds it, and if you hold down on option, it takes it away. So control to add, option to take it away. They have the magnetic selection tool, which if you had something here to magnetically, it just kind of traces the outline. I don't have anything to show you right now. Take my word for it, it works pretty good. But I usually use the paintbrush if I'm doing my selection. And of course up here it's new, add, subtract. You could do it that way too. So if you don't want to use the hotkeys, so let's go back to like the rectangle. If you tap, it deselects. And so if we want to add now, we could just click on this and then add it like that. Or if we want to subtract, you could do it like that. I like using the hotkeys. I mean, that's just my way. Paint bucket tool. It is what it says it is. It's the paint bucket. So let's change the color of the background. So we'll pick a blue. Well, now let's go for a green. Actually, let's go for a yellow because my sunglasses were yellow in this video. So we'll just tap it. Bam! It colors in the yellow. So everything that's in there. Command Z that. Command Z, that's another thing that you guys want to know is Command Z is to undo. So it's like going up here and hitting edit. Edit undo is right here, but Command Z will do that. So if you make a selection and now we click on the paint bucket tool, boom, it just fills in the selection. Gradient tool, I don't really use this that much. I like to make gradients another way, but I guess you could use this. And I do like the live view. That's one of the things that I really like about this. But there's your gradient tool, and well, I like that you can kind of arrange it and change it here. But if you want to change your gradient, you can go right up here and you can pick your colors. So let's pick some fun colors. And we'll pick blue. There you go. There's your gradient tool, and you can change it if you wanted linear, radial, but you can move it around. Next we have the paintbrush. Real easy, guys. This is to paint and make things with. So what we're gonna do, you could change right up here. All your tools always change over here, so we could go right up here and change the width. We could change the opacity, the flow, the hesitant. There's more options here. Go to brushes over here and you can get all your brushes that you need. So if you want more of a tighter brush because you don't want that fuzz on the end, you can grab that. Or if you want more of an airbrush kind of fuzz, you can do that. So your brushes over here, you can make your own, and obviously over here there's also color. And if you don't see these menus over here, you can go to view and go to suite, and then here's all your menus, guys. This is a big help, and you can turn them on. Color, so if I turn that off, boom, it leaves and it's not there. Don't panic, just go to view, studio, and then go to color, and there it is. So moving on, we'll go to the erase tool. Obviously the erase tool works a lot like the brush tool. Same thing, you can actually change the brushes and have it has basically the same thing except it's taking it away. It's subtracting everything. So you could do a haze one, or you could do a regular brush. So basically the same as the brush tool, it's just the erase tool. Dodge tool, I don't use this that much. Dodge, burn, and sponge, I don't use this too much. More for photo editing. I'm not really going to get into that one today. I'm just trying to show you how you make your graphics. Clone tool, another really cool tool. That's more for photo. I can't really show you that on this right now. Like I said, we're just going to the basics. Undo brush tool, we're not really going to get into that. Blur tool, smudge tool, you know, these I'll show you real quick. And you can actually, you see what I'm doing? They're for blurring and smushing. You know, so now we can go to the blur tool. This is more for photo editing. You guys can play with that. Same here, the bandage tool. I've showed these in my other videos. So this is the pen tool. Draw an object, or you hold down on a point and you can create a curve. And this is just to make graphics and objects and stuff like that. And now we'll go to the node tool, and you can adjust the object from here too. So if you like working with points, you could do that. And up here, again, it changed, guys, so we can change the stroke of this. So let's change the stroke. I'm gonna make it, see how it's adding a stroke to it now, and then we'll add the fill. There you go. So now if you want to change this object, you can go right in here, and I'm just giving you a quick thing. I'm not going too much into this. And if you click on this, you can adjust the curve. Just to give you guys a quick look, you'll go in there and play with it. Now if you want to add a point, boom, you can add points. So now I can go back to the node tool, grab that point, pull it up, pull this in. Object tool. This is your objects. I call it the object tool. I don't know if this is the correct name, but you can make rectangles, stars, bubbles. Let's grab a cog. So if you put a cog in here, when you hold down on shift, you can make it, it'll keep its shape. But if you let go, it's going to be morphed or moved. So I'm going to hold down on shift, in and out that way. And with the cog, we'll go to the select tool. In here, you know, any shape that you make, you can change. It usually gives you other. So you got a toxic symbol. You can make it a fan. Anyway, you can actually go in here, and if you go to the select tool, you can actually change shape, rotation. It has a lot more options that you can play with in here. And you just use that by hitting node tool. It's a node tool. I'm saying select tool. I don't know why I'm saying that, because I just like to confuse you guys. That's what I'm doing. The points on the outside are actually the selector tools, and I didn't talk about this, but if you hold down on shift, you can select size, or if you let go of it, anything that you grab here, and then if you grab this one, this point up here, you could turn. And that's using any tool. You know, any tool that you're in, if you see the selector box, you can resize it and change it, and then that's your rotation. So just to give you guys an idea on how the transform tools work. So moving on to the next, we had the shapes, and now we have text. Real easy. You draw text, and from here, and I'm sure you saw this on my other tutorials, you click on what font you want, what size you want it to be. And there's a lot of things you could do to manipulate text. I don't want to make this video too long, but there's also text frame. So if you want to make a paragraph and you want it to stay within that frame, as you can see, so that's the text frame. So if you hold down on that, I use just regular text and I rework it from there. Mesh warp tool, I'll give you a quick look at it real quick. You can actually change, you know, it basically makes it a mesh for you to work with. So if you want to angle, you know, like a logo or a tattoo on someone, you could use it for that. I don't want to get too much into this because I don't want to confuse you guys, but tool to use if you want to manipulate an object. And then of course the magnifying glass. Left click is to zoom in. The option for Mac and Alt for PC, I believe, and you hold down on that option key and you click, it'll zoom out. If you declick, it'll zoom in. I use that quite a bit, so you can zoom in, zoom out. And the hotkey for that one is Z. So if you hit Z, you go right to the magnifying glass. I'm gonna make a new project, and this time I'm gonna go for a web project, you know, just to show you how it works. Boom. Okay, so now we have like a website kind of project. And I wanted to go through layers real quick with you guys, because I know that some of you are having problems with layers. I'm getting questions from you. We're gonna do a shape. And I'm going to do a box. I'm going to change the inside color pink. And then I'm going to do another layer. Oh no, that's changing that. Okay, we'll leave that one yellow. And then we'll make another one right here. And it should make a new layer. Yes, it does. So we change that to pink. Okay, so if you have an object on top, this is the orientation of the objects. The orientation of the layers is reflectant, and I'll show you what I'm talking about. If you click and drag this down here, is reflectant to what you see. So if the layer's at the bottom, like the circle's at the bottom now, that's your bottom piece. If I change this layer and bring it to the bottom or bring it to the top, it changes. So with layers, you can change the opacity right here. So I could change the opacity so that way we get that kind of cool look right there. And I could turn it back up. Another thing with layers that's really helpful is you have, I'm going to show you these real quick and run through them, but they're all different channels that you could change your layer to get different effects from. That's something you want to play with. I just leave it at normal. Another thing that's really cool to know, if you hold down on shift and you select the other layer, you can select multiple layers like this, and if you want those guys together to stay that way, you can hit Control G to group them. Then you have a group, and you can select them individually still, but they'll stay in the group. And I hope this is making sense to you guys. So now if you grab the group, we'll name that group. I'm just call it Hi, because I can't think of a good name, but that's a group. And then under that group, you got rectangle, and you got circle. Now, if you want to degroup them, you could left click and hit ungroup, or you could just click, let's say you have a bunch of stuff in group and you just want this out, you could just put it up here, and now this is its own separate group and it's no longer a part of it. And then this is by itself. Now if you want to put that back in the group, you can put it right in there. You see how if I put it below it, it makes a long line there underneath there, and if I put it over here, it goes into the group. So now it's part of the group. Now it's part of the high group. And now if I click it, it all sticks together. So grouping is really important. It'll be very useful for you guys. I just wanted to go through that real quick. Let me just show you how to add a new layer, because that's really important. So we're going to add a new pixel layer right there. And now you could do all kinds of stuff. You could draw. Let's say we want to draw something. I'm just playing, guys. So we got Will. And now that's on its own layer, so I can move Will around. Get it? I can move Will around. Put that like this, and let's say, I don't like the way that Will's up there. And like I said, I know this isn't the greatest graphic design, but you see how the layers work? Now that's behind it, and you can use the select tool and select what you want and put it where you want. So like, let's say I want to sit that on there, and I don't like that. I want that one behind this one. So that's how layers will be very helpful for you. One last thing I want to go into, and like I said, this is just the basics. I just wanted to show you guys really quick, is this little effects tool, effects layer. There's a lot of stuff you can do in here, and you just click these on. I'm going to just show you an example. So like, let's say you want to change the color of that Will. We'll click on that, and we'll change it to purple. Is my favorite color, believe it or not. Say we want to put a blur on it. You could do that. You could do a shadow. Like I said, there's a lot of things that you could do. The intensity of the shadow, the roundness of the shadow, the offset of the shadow. You see that? So let's say you want to make it, darker or lighter. All right, so we want that far. There we go. So now you got a cool looking shadow thing. Outline is what I use a lot. I like using outline. So now you can put, and it just makes your graphic come off the page a little bit. And I just wanted to share that with you real quick. So that's the basics, guys. I hope that helped you. I hope it gave you a basic understanding of how Affinity works. If you have any questions, please leave them down below and I will answer them. So that's it for me, guys. Make sure you like and subscribe. And remember, you can do anything if you put your mind to it. Later, guys. Still haven't heard from my mother. This is what happens when you help family. They take you for granted. It's funny. It's over. That's it, guys. I mean, there's other videos up there, or if you want to do me a huge favor, click the like button, or subscribe button's even better.